How does nutrition evolve with age, and how should you be eating after menopause? So as you may know, as we age, we tend to have lower calorie needs, but our nutrient needs are still the same. We still need to be getting the same amount of nutrients, and there are a few little things that we have to be wary of as we age in terms of nutrition. And I have been getting requests for how to eat after a certain age, or how to eat after menopause specifically, and so I thought that it would be interesting if I would bring my mom along with me for this video, because then you can have the theory as a nutritionist. I can tell you what you're supposed to do, and then we'll see what it looks like in practice with my mom, who is actually a person over 50, so you know, maybe you'll see that there are things that are different or similar, we'll see. But I thought it would be interesting for you to get both of our points of views. So Mom, first of all, can you just tell me from the top of your head things that you feel have changed in the way that you eat in your nutrition since going through menopause?
Not that much, actually.
Okay, we can just end the video then.
I stopped eating meat about 10 years ago now, and since then I've tried to compensate, and even more so since menopause, which started about 5 years ago.
Okay, yeah. I think you're right. I was kidding, but it's actually a good thing to remember that just because you age doesn't mean your diet should drastically change. It's always about eating balanced meals, which I think you've always done.
Yeah, I've always had rather balanced meals, actually. So that's why once again, there's no drastic change in my routine, you know.
And that's good, because I think that if you're able to focus on having these balanced meals, even now, even if you're not over 50, that's the way that you should keep on eating throughout your life. But with that being said, I think that even if it's still important to be eating mainly whole foods, so lots of fruit and vegetables, focus on like healthy sources of proteins, eating legumes, not eating too many refined foods, junk food, things like that. So that's like the basics. But you know, that being said, I still think that there are a few little things that you can do that can kind of help as you age in terms of nutrition. We can go through that, but maybe before we get into that more, could you maybe start us off by telling us a few different meals that you have like regularly? What are your favorite meals, so they can have like some idea of how you eat?
Actually, I have a lot in mind. It can be a mushroom or asparagus omelette, a pepperade, which is a mix of onions, peppers and tomatoes fried in olive oil with poached eggs on top. It can be also a ratatouille, which is a typical French dish, a mix of vegetables that I have with whole wheat pasta. I'm also thinking of dal, which is red lentils, cherry tomatoes and chickpeas cooked in coconut milk.
I love this one, it's so good.
I also have fish from time to time, for example with the leek fondue that I have with brown rice or potatoes, things like that. And I often have a small side dish, like grated carrots with lemon juice, some French beans with olive oil, or a mixed salad. Most of the time I finish off the meal with a piece of cheese or some fruit.
Okay, great.
You know, that's what comes to my mind.
Yeah, that's you were giving us like entire.
I could give you.
You could go on and on.
Many more ideas.
I hope all of you were writing that down, because you're always telling me, "Oh, we want to know what your mom eats," and maybe one day we can do a video.
Oh yeah, because I have a lot in store, and I can show.
We can do a video
how to cook,
how she eats.
Sounds
we can
great.
do that. Leave me a comment if you want to do that.
If you're interested.
So thank you for that. And I think that to start off with, it's the most important thing, and it's something that you talked about as well. Do you feel like you're always going on different types of diet plans, but nothing seems to work? Do you feel like you can't control yourself around food, and that your food obsession is taking up all of your energy and time? Do you wish you could build healthy eating habits that actually last without restricting yourself from any of your favorite foods? foods and saying goodbye to dieting forever. I put together a free training that covers the 8 steps you need to take in order to figure out healthy eating for good. In this training, you'll learn about which foods you should be having for optimal health, which ones you should be avoiding also, and the quantities in which you should be having them. You'll also learn why you need to incorporate the less healthy foods that you love into your diet and how you can do that. You'll learn how mindful and intuitive eating can massively help your healthy eating habits. You'll learn about the relationship with food you need to have for lasting results and more. So make sure you check out the link for that in the description. You have nothing to lose and everything to win. Now back to the video. Getting enough protein, because as you age, your body kind of processes protein less efficiently. So you need to make sure that you're getting enough protein to kind of maintain your muscle mass. And then also as you age, this is like typically older adults than you, not you yet, no. But you tend to do like less physical activity, you tend to be more sedentary, less active. And so that, and then the protein that gets processed less efficiently can kind of deteriorate your muscle mass. So in order to really counteract that, you definitely need to be focusing on getting enough protein. So how would you say that you make sure to get enough protein in your meals?
What comes to my mind is eggs, for sure, because I like eggs, 2 or 3 eggs a week, no more. It can be meat substitute every now and then, not very often. It can be things like falafel, lentils. I'm also thinking of nuts, fish, and yogurts like skyr or plant-based yogurts as well.
Yeah, that's great in terms of protein. So if you're eating like animal-based protein, you know, meat, obviously, even if like certain types of meat, especially red meat, isn't like the best source of protein because there's lots of fat and other stuff in there. But meat is protein. And then in like vegetarian animal sources, there's also eggs and dairy. Obviously fish as well in like non-vegetarian sources. Fish is a good source of protein as well. If you're getting dairy or like dairy alternatives as well, or meat alternatives, that's also good, like meat substitutes, things like that, you can get some protein from that. But then I would say like for me, my favorite source of protein as a vegetarian is legumes, so beans, lentils, chickpeas, all of that.
I have a lot,
and if you're interested in knowing more about protein sources and like protein for vegetarians, things like that, then I have a video right here, I'll leave it, or in the description, that you can check out. But yeah, in general, you're right, that's like the main protein sources that you need to make sure that you're getting enough of. And then I would say that another thing that also comes to mind for me, something that you need to be careful to be getting enough of, is calcium as well, because also as you age, you tend to absorb less calcium, and then specifically after menopause, because actually estrogen increases calcium absorption. So with menopause, you're getting less estrogen. It can be more difficult to absorb calcium from the food sources that you're consuming, so you need to increase the absorption a little bit as well, and then make sure that you're eating it with vitamin D, or that you're like going out in the sun. That can also boost the absorption. So I think calcium is important. Women after 50, they have like a 1 in 3, I think, chance of getting a bone fracture because of osteoporosis. Not fun, but really something that you need to be careful. And so is that something that you knew?
Yeah. I do know calcium is very important too, of course. I think I get it from, again, yogurts or cheese. I also have almond or oat milk on a regular basis, because I have that kind of milk with cereals in the morning on a regular basis. And I'm pretty sure that there's a certain amount of calcium in the food I eat regularly. I'm pretty sure that I maybe wouldn't be able to tell you exactly what kind of food.
I'll tell you.
But you know, I'm pretty sure I get a good amount of calcium on a regular basis.
It's also important. I think that you were taking vitamin D at some point, no?
Like what do you call it? Ampoule.
No, I don't know.
I don't know.
Capsules, like
3 times a year. I started about a couple of years ago, and 3 times a year I had this to compensate for the
lack of sun.
Lack of sun, absolutely, lack of sun.
I think, dairy, obviously there's calcium in dairy. And then if you're not eating dairy, and there's lots of plant-based alternatives that have calcium as well. The only thing that I would say in that is to be mindful, like check the label. For instance, when you get like soy milk or plant-based yogurts or like almond milk, all of that, you need to make sure that there is calcium added. Usually it's like with the type of algae or something that they added. And I think that that's important because lots of people are like, no, like I don't like any additives. But in this case, you want there to be like a calcium additive. When I buy soy milk, I always buy the one that has calcium. If you're getting plant-based, make sure that you're looking at that. So it can be a good source of calcium. And then also tofu can be a great source of calcium. And then anything like greens like spinach or kale, they have lots of calcium as well. And I think that also like nuts and seeds, especially like almonds, chia seeds, they're good sources of calcium.
I had them quite often.
And I think the last thing as well that you have is that it's a good source of calcium, like legumes, so chickpeas, like lentils, all of that. So it's cool because they're a good source of protein, a good source of calcium.
I'm doing great.
Yeah, you're doing great. You're doing great. And let's say if you're still doing great, there's another thing that you need to be a little bit careful about. This is for everyone, but it's specifically useful as you get older and maybe a little older than you, because it's to help prevent certain like degenerative diseases and to help prevent like certain brain issues.
Yeah, not funny.
Yeah, no. And like this is like healthy fats and specifically omega-3s. Omega-3s really help with all of these like all of these brain issues, and it can really help preventing like premature aging and dementia, and then other great things like heart diseases. So omega-3s are great. So is that something like healthy fats in general? Is that something that you're that you're aware of? That's something that you try to kind of have in your diet?
Yeah, I would. I mean, I'm thinking of right now. I'm thinking of fatty fish, for example, or olive oil. I use so much olive oil in
Mediterranean.
So much olive oil. I mean, every day. There's not a day without olive oil for sure. Nuts, because I eat quite a lot of nuts. Yeah, that's what comes to mind. Yeah.
No, that's exactly. That's exactly it. If you're getting olive and olive oils and other types of vegetable oils, avocados as well are good sources of healthy fats. Avocado oil. The nuts and seeds are like the best sources of healthy fats as well. And then fatty fish. That's also a great source of specifically omega-3.
Like mackerel. I like that
and even like salmon.
Salmon.
And even tuna is pretty. So all of that are great sources of omega-3s and like healthy fats in general. Obviously there's also fats in like animal products and dairy, things like that, but they're like a little bit less healthy. Doesn't mean that they're bad or anything like that, but all of that can really help premature aging within your brain. And while we're on that subject, another thing that can really help the aging in your brain is also antioxidants. It can help combat aging in general. Even like for your skin, like its antioxidants are just really good. So I think that it's something that's really important that you focus on in your diet. So is that something that you?
Yeah, sure.
I know you know about.
To start with, plenty of fruit and vegetables.
Yeah,
Okay,
definitely.
so and to sum it up, I like my meals to be as colorful as possible. So I think that means a lot. Very colorful, so very varied and balanced, and so I think I get a lot of antioxidants from what I eat. I think so.
Yeah, and you're right. You said something like you said colorful, and I think that can really help. If your meals are a bunch of different colors, then you're likely getting in a bunch of different antioxidants from them, so that's great. And you're absolutely right. Fruit and vegetables are a great source of antioxidants. And then another thing, I know that you do it. You didn't talk about it maybe because you don't know there's antioxidants in it, but herbs and spices.
Everywhere.
You put them everywhere. So make sure that you're putting a bunch of herbs and spices. They have the most like antioxidant content per gram. If you take per gram, obviously you're not going to be eating like 100 grams.
No.
So it's good to be sprinkling them on everything. So if you're getting fruit and veggies, if you're getting herbs and spices, then there's also antioxidants in things like coffee and tea that you have as well. And then in chocolate, things like that. And then if you're interested in more specifically antioxidants and where you can find them, I made a video about that right here, or in the description that you can check out. And I also made a video about herbs and spices.
I think green tea is full of antioxidants.
And polyphenols, exactly. So we talked about a lot of things. Another thing that I want to touch on as well is fiber. Fiber is very important. It's important for everybody, but specifically as you age, because fiber really can help prevent lots of diseases that you're more likely to get as you get older, like certain heart disease, certain cancers, and then it can also help like regulate diabetes, like it can help regulate your blood sugar levels, manage sugar absorption, all of that. And then it can also help with your bowel movement, because again, this is more like for older adults, but it can be, you know, more difficult as you age to have like frequent bowel movements. So fiber really helps with all of that. Do you consciously, you know, try to have fiber in your diet? Is that something that you're aware of, something that you do?
Yeah, once again, I do think that the food I eat already contains a lot of fiber, naturally.
Yeah, definitely.
Also, I mostly choose everything whole grains. I'll have a whole wheat pasta, brown rice, brown bread, things like that, you know, and not only is it healthier, I know, but it's so much tastier for me.
I think so too.
It's a question I like it so much compared to white stuff, you know.
Yeah, like the easiest transition I would say that you can do is to switch from refined grains like white pasta, white flour, all of that to whole grains to get more fiber, and then eating plenty of fruit and vegetables, which you also do. So these are like two main things to be able to make sure that you're getting enough fiber. I think that, you know, if we look at the recommended amount for fiber, people in general, especially American people, eat like a much lower amount than what is recommended. So you can easily up that. You know, even if you're adding some fruit, like some fruit to your meal, some vegetables, if you're switching out one of your grains for whole grains, you know, that can really help you tremendously. And then another good thing that contains fiber is like legumes, so beans, lentils. That's also great. So, you know, what's good, I think, is that all the foods that we're talking about, they serve like different purposes. The lentils, they can help with the fiber, with the protein, with the calcium. The fruit and vegetables, they help with the fiber, with the antioxidants. The whole grains with the fiber, so, and the protein. So, you know, it's not like you're gonna have to do all of these different things. You can find foods that kind of fit into all of that. So we talked about quite a few things that we should be adding into our diets. So maybe we can focus like on a few things that maybe we shouldn't be having, or do you think that there is anything that since menopause you have been like actively trying to decrease in your diet?
I don't have the feeling that I restrict myself. And to be honest, I used to love cakes and pastries.
I know.
And even sometimes binge on them when I was younger. And it's not the
crepe cakes.
Like, you know, it was ridiculous. And it's not the case any longer at all, you know. And it's not a matter of restricting myself. It's just that now a slice of cake or two from time to time is plenty enough for me. I don't feel like having more, you know. That's just enough. You know, moderation, like always.
That's the key word in here.
More moderation.
I think that if you've been watching my videos for a while, you know that I'm not gonna sit here and tell you don't eat this. Obviously there's room for any food that you love, as long as it's incorporated into a healthy, balanced way of eating, and that you're eating it in moderation, like you said. And I have a video on what that means if you're interested, right here or in the description, about eating in moderation. And I also think that if you're able to more so focus on foods that you should be adding, so all the foods that we talked about before, increasing that portion of your meals, and then naturally, you know, you can start to reduce maybe your intake of refined food. So like we talked about, if you're focusing more on whole foods, then naturally you will eat less refined foods. If you're focusing more on like fruit and veggies, maybe naturally you'll eat less like pastries and things like that. You know, focus more on that during any period of life, but specifically as you get older, you need to not be eating as much refined foods, like any deep fried foods, all of that. That's, you know, not ideal. But again, it's better not to focus on all of that you're taking away, and instead focus on all of these great foods that we just talked about, that you can be adding into your diet. And then I think that naturally it will kind of work itself out and like balance everything out. So I think we said quite a few things.
I think so too.
Do you have any like words for the end? We don't say that in English, like les mots de la fin.
Maybe what I can say to sum it up is that since menopause, maybe the only thing I've really focused on is getting a little more protein and calcium, and on the other hand, a little less sugar. But this has come naturally, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Once again, I don't have the feeling that I'm restricting myself in any way. But once again, there has been no drastic change for me at all, you know?
Yeah.
No drastic change, just, maybe some adjustment, but
I think also
that's it.
because you're always used to eating.
I've always had rather balanced meals as far as I can remember. So of course, that helps, you know.
And like the sugar, it's kind of naturally.
Yeah. Maybe that's the only thing I really, decreased. In my diet.
Kind of naturally.
But naturally, as you say. Yeah.
And which is a good sign, because when you're in tune with your hunger cues, like you are, you eat balanced meals,
that's right.
Your body will naturally tell you, you know, I need less of this, I need more of this, and naturally you will strive to get like the things that you need. And so I think that it's also a great reminder that you need to work on being in tune with your body and practice like intuitive eating, so that you know, like, okay, your body's telling you I need more of this, I need less of this. I think that's also really important, and it shows that you have a balanced way of eating and like a healthy relationship with food, because you don't feel like restricted. So you do all this kind of naturally.
Yeah, that's right.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Good job, Mom.
I'm doing good.
So I think that wraps it up. I think we're done. Well, thank you so much for
you're very welcome,
being
daughter.
being here with me. And it was really good to have you. I'm sure everybody will be really happy to see you again. I'm always getting comments.
I hope so.
You guys want to see more of my mom? Well, here she is. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like it and subscribe, and see you on my next one. Bye.